This is your weekend market review for Saturday, April 20th, 2024. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and your daily market review for Saturday, April 20th, 2024. Hopefully you had an amazing week. If you've been following the channel, you absolutely crushed it. We talked about the market was heading down in a choppy, sloppy action. The headlines, the news, everything we talked about potentially getting worse is and will. If you're watching the jobs market again, I feel like the war stuff and the stuff going on in the Middle East is a really distraction of what's going on currently here. Layoffs are increasing. Rates are starting to actually do what they're supposed to do, which is slow down the economy. Unemployment's rising, banking issues, commercial banking issues, seeing a lot of buildings and things going off at prices that would blow your mind. I mean, almost like for free. So if you have any questions, new to the Discord room, new to the channel, let me know how I can help. Leave a comment below. I appreciate the love, support, generous donations. You guys are amazing. If you want to join the Discord room, links in the description below. We know it's going to be a big earnings week. Whew, we'll see. Again, if you want to catch up, use the Zoom. Use Calendly. Hit me up. We'll do a little Zoom chat. Check out the website, thetradingagent.com. Get your recommended reading. Get your interactive brokers. I'm telling you, there's going to be a broker that goes out of business. Have zero doubt. And also check out the Marcus 5.5%. I don't think Goldman will be going out. And in my opinion, actually, the thing that will be obvious to me is at some point, as we've talked about, and I'm on record like saying this over and over, I think at some point the Feds need some sort of credit issue to get people to buy U.S. Treasuries, because right now they are dumping them left and right all over the world. Also, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell on YouTube, always available, and then follow on the twits. I guess it's letter X. It's hard to call it X. It just seems silly. Let me know how I can help. Again, always posting trades and what we're up to. So we know going into the May meeting, which at this point there's no rate cuts coming. As of right now, the potentiality for a rate cut, I don't think it's till November. Yeah. And so, obviously that's very dynamic. It will change. You know how that goes. It will change. But here's the thing that you have to be careful of. The markets, to get the odds of a rate cut, the markets and the economy have to slow down fast. And so when the Feds cut, that's the best time to buy gold. Honestly, gold's been holding up, but I'm talking like the whole metals sector. But we're not there yet, in my opinion, and it's going to be volatile. Bitcoins we talked about going into the halving, chopping between 71 and 61,000. If it breaks below it and closes below it, look out below. Oil holding up. Again, this is so sticky and difficult for the Feds. They can't like this. And natural gas is, again, I like it because I don't think there's much downside. Just don't chase it. That's all I always tell people. Let trades come to you. Attract, not chase. All right, let's jump into it. Dollar holding up really well. We've talked about that. It's not good. I mean, it's good for the dollar and what the Feds want, but it's definitely showing you risk out of other currencies. We've got the TLT again, treasuries. We talked about middle of the week last week. OPEX, it felt a little oversold, not surprised, due for a bounce. If things get scary, this is when people start piling into treasuries. VIX holding up extremely well. Nice pop up at the open. Again, I don't really care too much about the short-term action, but you have the gap off the low, leading to higher prices, break the downtrend. And honestly, as a bear, I like slow and steady. I love slow, because what happens is it's slow and steady down market, and then the final bit is very whoosh scary, and then the market flops, the VIX erupts, and then that's when it's time to take profits near term. And again, you can, or longer term if you're swing shorting. VIX and VIVIX, they're all holding up pretty darn well. Questions, thoughts, concerns? Again, leave a comment below. SPY, talked about it filling the gap down here. Okay. Cool. Near term, I wouldn't be surprised if we do a little bounce. We talked about the first drop. Chop top, first of the month. It's been a pretty crappy month going to the end of the month. Wouldn't be surprised. Watch the 8 and 10 day. Where is it bounce? Everyone's thinking the 100 day, the gap fill. Again, this is where the more you're up, the less you're own. Even remember, shorting is not a permanent trade. So trade around your positions. And the more something goes in your favor, take profit. But here's the thing. I love the short trade with tech. We've talked about how tech is going to get absolutely crushed with higher rates, yada, yada. And again, I don't want to repeat myself. Qs are leading down. Qs are leading down. Do not be surprised if they catch a bounce down in this area, right? Don't be surprised if it, at worst, chops around. If you have any questions, again, ask. IWM, we talked about this has been leading down. Yeah, it's way below the 100-day and at support. Again, the more that something goes down, the more likely it needs to consolidate. And here's like the D is like it's dropped, it's gone down what? I don't know, 200 something, no, 2,000 points. So it's going to chop around. That's pretty natural. Gold, you would think this thing would be going nuts with what's going on in the Middle East. It's starting to get tired again. The best time to buy metals has always been the Fed's cut and the Fed's pivot. They're not there yet. However, we've talked about them rallying. But near term, I mean, that looks like a top in silver. I mean, the same thing in the GDX. People love talking, like, they haven't seen what happens when the VIX spikes and they throw the baby out with the bathwater. They literally do not know that the miners can get absolutely destroyed. That looks like a top there. Because if there's credit issues, who's going to lend them money? How are they going to get money to pull gold out of the ground? And they're usually most miners are run like shiznit. AEM, chopping around, holding up pretty well. Got to give AEM again. The reason why I showed these 4 names is I like them. AG, again, I like AG for silver long term, but again, I'm letting it come right on back. Newmont, this thing should be on fire. This thing should be in the 70s with gold at new highs. Instead, it's just barely breaking the trend. And again, I don't mind being wrong. If I have other trades that are working, it's the nature of the beast. PAAS. Again, I just want to wait. Again, I don't chase. We talked about they were due to bounce. If you go watch old videos, we knew they were due to bounce. We knew they had upside. We talked about chopping. But at this point, I mean, again, I like dust as a hedge because if the market pops a little bit and gold sells off, you've got risk reward here. People trade risk versus reward. Taiwan Semi, I was told that this is going to the moon. A nice gap down on earnings and continues lower. Again, do not listen to the perma bulls or perma bears. Do your own due diligence. I don't like Taiwan Semi. I think they have massive amounts of problems coming. Micron, we said once it broke the 20-day, look out below. I mean, I do not know why you would not fill these gaps down here. Let me know. Again, if you have a different opinion, feel free. AMD, I've been talking about this lagging for so long. It's like, yeah, look at this. Here's the top. Here, it's like looks like gold, right? But even gold has bigger volume. Big blowout candles, maybe silver, and just do slow and steady. And NVIDIA finally breaks. Finally fills the gap, and kapow. In my opinion, it's toast. SMCI, again, we're talking about the risk-on tech names that everybody was plowing into. We warned you. We said, be careful. When everyone's greedy, you got to get the hell out of these names. And then when everyone's scared, maybe you can come back to them. But in my opinion, the best trades are going to be commodities. It's the inputs. Man, that looks bad. Bad. Intellectual property, bad. SMH, again, if you bought the Soxus, looking good. We talked about once it broke this, it was game over. Now, again, do not be surprised you fill the gap. Hold the Hundo Day. Hundo Day. That, to me, would be first support. If it breaks below that, I mean, there's so many gaps in this chart. You tell me where you think it's going. Adobe, as we talked about, trash. Gaps down on earnings previously and just makes lower lows. Apple finally broke the 168, 170 area. Uh-oh, spaghetti go. Keep in mind, going into earnings, there could be reactions all over the place. Amazon had been riding high, finally breaking. Again, tech is leading down. Gotta love it. Meta holding up pretty damn well, actually, considering what's going on. We know TikTok ban is probably coming, so I would watch the reaction because after that, that might be the sell the news event. CRM, we talked about this gapping down, looks like crap. Guggenheim holding up pretty well. Got to give credit. I mean, credit where credit's due. If it's holding up, don't short it. If it's starting to flop and it breaks levels, you go with it. Or if you just don't want to short, just watch out. Hang out. There's more trades to come. There'll be some longs at some point, I promise. Microsoft, Mr. Softy, we said watch what happens here at $3.99 so far. It's there. Talked about it. Eric, shout out to him. NDAQ, again, I think the NASDAQ actual exchange is absolute garbage long term. They're not going to have the listings of what's going to be moving. MicroStrategy, we thought 1,200 would hold if Bitcoin holds 61,000. So far, I mean, again, you have to remember this thing moves like 50, 60 points beyond whatever target you think has. It's holding here near term. If Bitcoin cracks, though, do not be surprised. You come right back into the, I don't know, 700, 800 range. It's kind of scary. Netflix, chop. Gaps down on earnings. Yikes. We talked about this. I said this many times. Second quarter earnings traditionally are not good for Netflix because everyone piles in over the holidays and then they have no more new subscribers. Well, here you go. Roblox, we talked about. I like this thing when it gets beaten. Kids gambling, essentially. Pan W, I like this. This is the only long right now, other than commodities when the Fed's. I like the idea of cyber issues. If Pelosi's buying this, I've got this on my radar. Abso-freaking-lutely. Best trader on the planet. Tesla, we've talked about this thing is dead money. Every time people always like, oh, it's bottoming. I'm like, you can't bottom if everyone's yelling it's a bottom. At bottoms, nobody wants to touch it. Airbnb, we talked about this, like the housing market. I mean, watch what happens here. If it breaks to 155, Costco, gap down on earnings, and it's just been slowly chopping its way lower. Starbucks, this thing is getting a global growth name. Everyone drinks coffee everywhere. Well, congrats. It rallied a little bit during OPEX, but this thing has been turd. Broke the channel, oversold bounce. Federal Express, been holding up pretty well, gapped up on earnings, but then watch what happened post-earnings. Like, it's been nicely, and then not what you expect. Caterpillar said, watch the 20-day. Who shorted this? Said, watch the 20-day. Man, that thing has been on a big run, y'all. It's due for a pullback. Nucor, again, we like material names. They've been holding up pretty well. Just let them come back in. Letter X, again, I still think they get bought out at some point. There are bidders. I just don't know what the price is. VALE, I like it down here at some point, but just be careful. Arrow, again, we like copper long term. Just please be careful. CCJ, I don't like when Goldman upgrades this stuff at the highs. Yikes. CF, I love ag long term. I just want this all to come in. Just let it all play. I don't know where the lows are. I don't know what happens when they throw the baby out the bathwater. I don't know when people panic. Because again, if you've ever traded and seen the VIX above 50, you will see absolute sheer chaos. And everything gets sold. Except for treasuries, and sometimes they'll buy gold. And you know, you'll see some things here and there. NTR, same kind of thing. Dollar will rally, but then dollar can be sold. It's all over the place. I mean, it's just again, let it come to you. AA, we love Illumina long term. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Let it play its games down here. Let it play its games. XLF, we've talked about. I mean, I love the short. And we talked about this last week. Due to bounce, right? 20 days curving down. Watch the 8 and 10 day. Maybe watch the 20 day. Not surprised. Little rally here. We've talked about this. Like, this is why when you see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 red days in a row, you better start thinking, maybe I should take some profit. Maybe I should hedge some position. I know some of the guys in the Discord room, Joe did it. Good job, guys. Really. JP Morgan gaps down on earnings. Little counter trend rally, in my opinion. Morgan Stanley, same thing. It gaps down on earnings, chopping around, or it gaps up. I mean, holding the 200 day. Clearly, the 200 day is all that matters. Bank of America, chopping around, gaps down, rallies back. Okay. Goldman Snacks. This is one that I'm just watching. 20 day. I know some folks are watching this too. I mean, once this breaks, man, 377, it could just get nuts. And carry. I mean, this thing has been dead money forever, and now it holds support, which is, again, pretty typical. It's been choppy, sloppy. It goes from 50 down to 45 pretty damn quickly. Don't be surprised it hits the 20-day, backs up a little bit. XBI, here's another one. Sorry, XBI. We talked about, like, risk-on plays. Look at this. This is a risk-off, but near-term, oversold. Again, you can look for some oversold rallies if you want to hedge some of your positions, right? I like to watch the housing index because, again, as a real estate agent, look at this thing. Not looking good. All right, last but not least, solar and some of these gas names. Again, solar's trash. People get mad at me when I say it. I don't have a beef against the technology. I have a beef against the companies. I think these things can go much lower. I've seen solar get absolutely destroyed at one point. But then, again, if oil prices rally 2024, 2025, yeah, you're going to see solar probably bottom. I mean, First Solar looks like the best of the group. All the other ones. HYG, again, I talked about. If you got to be crazy to be buying corporate debt up here. We talked about it felt like I was broken record for 6 months. Finally breaks, holding near-term support. Okay, not surprised. Oil, going on record again. I don't think the downside in oil is huge, but it will get sold off. They throw the baby out the bathwater. Again, nat gas. I hate the UNG. I'd rather short the KOLD. I think that's the easier trade. Say it over and over and over. XOP, we talked about it filling the gap in the 160s. Look, pulling back. Now it's getting a little choppy. Maybe it's oversold near term due to chop. Just be careful. CVE, this one's been holding up pretty damn well. I mean, it's a buyout target, in my opinion. Watch the 20s. Valero, we talked about how the gasoline names were leading down. Look at that, y'all. Look at that. MPC, same kind of thing. Like gasoline names, just ExxonMobil, holding up around this 120 area. I mean, this is a big area long term, and it's still playing the games. Occidental, we talked about hitting the upper range bounds, backing off. Not surprising. EQT, again, a lot of good information here. Hopefully you appreciate this stuff, guys. chopping around. I like EQT, natural gas names, and then last but not least, Flex LNG. I like them in time though, right? I want to let this stuff just come in. This thing has an 8% dividend, if I remember correct. Maybe it's I don't know, 11%. Juicy. So if you have any questions about real estate, please don't hesitate to reach out. If you got any questions about the markets, thought process, hit me up. I will be out of town next week, so there will be no daily market reviews. I will be in Orlando for the Creative Finance Pace Morby Squad Up group, wanting to get more involved again because I know creative finance, but I want to build more resources so that I can connect with people all over this country and help you out. So if you have any questions, please reach out. Talk to you guys and gals later. Peace.